Hey there. Doesn't look so great for having a quorum.
Yeah, I know it.
You know anybody else who's gonna be here?
I know Sean's not going to be here, and Cindy said she won't be there.
So we really need Joan or Brent, huh?
Yep.
I'm having trouble with the volume. Is that just me?
You're fine.
I hear you.
I can hear you fine, Betsy.
Okay, well, I must have done something on my computer. Oh, yes. Okay, I've got it now.
Well, I don't know if I have Joan's phone number. Let me see.
I'm looking right now.
Okay, thanks.
I have it. I just gotta get to the right screen.
I just figured out my volume because my grandson was there last weekend playing on my computer. So,
Change things.
sure. Just didn't occur to me.
Okay, it went into voicemail, so what I'm doing is I'm texting her. There's Brent.
I'm sorry?
Yep, just barely made it here in time today.
Oh, hey, Brent. Okay.
think we have a quorum.
Whew.
Yep, just got back.
Let's give her about, oh, here she is. She's having problems. Let's see. Okay, she's going to join us in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get started. You want to do roll call, please?
Sure. Joan Eaton, Sean Platt, Cindy Neely, Betsy Blakesley,
I'm here.
Mark Reynolds,
Sorry.
Bob Hamilton,
I'm here
Brett Ganzer,
and Joan's here.
and Joan.
Well, there's Joan. Hello, Joan. Let's see if her audio is working. There she is.
Hey, sorry guys, for some
Oh, no
reason my
problem.
Wi-Fi was not working, so got it. Did you start yet?
No, we just did a roll call.
Oh, okay, cool. And sorry, I've been in computer hell here, so.
I had
when you get,
my grandson was playing on my computer last weekend. I had no volume. It took me a minute to figure out that he had adjusted the volume. So,
well, somehow this computer that I always use now wants my password that apparently I don't know, so I was trying to just sign in on the audio and that wasn't working either. So I'm actually on my phone, so bad picture, but at least we'll get through it. Okay, so
you look
sorry, everyone. And I'm only seeing one of you at a time on the phone. So whoever's talking, I guess, is the one up. So we've done the roll call. So do we have approval for the agenda tonight?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Mark,
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I don't even hear everybody except the one person that's talking. So just let me know if for some reason there's like not a consensus or something. Is there any audience business?
Yes, there is, Joan.
Okay,
There's
and
one
who is
person that
who?
wants to talk.
Okay, who is that, please?
I think it'll be Deanne Powell. And
Okay, is she on?
she's coming on now, so.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little handicapped here. All right, whenever you're on, Deanne.
Hi there. I am beating my old horse to death here, but I think that the Strauss Park project as proposed by DHM needs to be rejected. I want to quote a couple things that I found in book 2 of your, I don't know what they're called, guidelines, regulations. Every chapter begins with a paragraph that says to keep in mind the impact any changes will have on neighboring historic resources or the town as a whole. On page 90, it says preserving accessory structures. And it says, because accessory structures help interpret how an entire lot was used historically, their preservation is strongly encouraged. Subsection C says new uses that require minimal change and maintain the utilitarian character of an accessory structure are preferred. And sub 1 under that says new uses which significantly alter the character of the size of the structure are not appropriate, well, of the character or size. Those are not appropriate. It also says that fences should be kept where a historic fence or wall exists, it should be preserved. That's on page 51. Existing additions say changes may have developed significance in their own right. This significance should be recognized and respected. And Section A under that says preserve an older addition that has achieved historic significance in its own right, which indeed the Strauss Park situation does qualify on all of those. I've got about 8 other paragraphs, all of which apply to keeping Strauss Park looking like it does now, rather than going through really crazy changes and screwing up our historic designations. So please turn this project down. It should have been stopped 1.5 years, 2 years ago. There's so many places where it is not historically accurate and will it's gonna screw up our economic base. It's gonna screw up how the town looks. So please, please, please turn it down, cancel it, stop it in its tracks. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanne. Okay, old and new business. Jacob Levy, 1764 Clear Creek Drive.
Hi, I'm here.
Hi there. So if you'll state your name and address and then just tell us a little bit about your project, please.
Yeah, my name is Jacob Levy and my address is 1764 Clear Creek Drive. I'm looking to replace all the existing windows and the rear sliding door. I think they're all the original except for the one that's on my back bottom section. And yeah, they're pretty old, so I think they need to be replaced.
Okay. Anybody have questions?
Are you replacing the windows with the same size and type of window that's currently in place?
Yeah, all of the existing like frames are the same size. The only two changes, I mean, besides the fact that these are updated, energy efficient windows, the kitchen window, which is the front bottom window, is going to be like a single pane instead of two, and it's going to open from the bottom. I think it's called an awning. And then there's a large 5-foot window that's up my stairwell, kind of on the left side of the duplex, and that's going to also open up, but sizes and look are going to be identical.
And what about the sliding door? Will it look identical to what is there currently?
Yeah, everything will look the same except for it won't be bending out of shape and it'll open.
Awesome.
Does anybody have any of the sightings? They didn't write anything down.
So we're book 3.
We're around page 93 or so.
Yeah, that looks good.
Do you know what do you know what the material for the windows is? The metal or fiberglass or some kind of a composite?
Let me see if it's here in the.
I think they're Anderson, so they're probably fiberglass.
That
Yeah.
does sound.
Okay, yeah, we've
They're a composite from what I remember him showing me, but I think it's a fiberglass on the outside. It's paintable.
I think it's like page 93. It's book 3, page 93. I guess it's section 3. And it's 3A, 3B. I think that covers it.
Okay. All right, anybody have anything else?
No, I'd make a motion to accept the application as presented using the guidelines that have been stated.
Here, second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
against? All right, thanks, Jacob.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Sure, thank you.
Paperwork or something to send them, or should I get the recording?
Well, they'll have a record of this, so you need to just go, is there a permit on this, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just need to talk to Kent at Town Hall about a permit.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. All right, Mark, I'm just finishing my paperwork. If you'll start the next
Okay.
one.
This is on the section 106 review, EV charging station, county annex parking lot. And since I wasn't at the last meeting, I'm not real sure how far you got on this.
Actually, we were waiting on them to get their 106 review completed, which I'm understanding it has been done. So we're here just to look now at the specs on this, and then we can move it on past to their next hurdle, whatever else they have to do. And it was recommended that
Okay.
if we're approving at this point, we can go ahead and do the COA on this, so they don't have to come back to us. I think I'm not sure if it's zoning they have to go to after this, but they'll be done with us if we approve it tonight, so we can go ahead and do the COA. But they still have another step to do.
Have we gone through all the changes that we wanted with them?
No, I don't have sightings.
Yeah, Cindy sent in an email that indicates that there's some things that we ought to require, such as
Yes.
the type of LED bulbs, the color and the type of fixtures. Making sure that the transformers and equipment attached to any poles are painted black.
Okay. There's no one on tonight for them?
I'm here. This is Matt,
Oh, okay.
guys. Yeah,
Oh, okay, hi.
I'm with ChargePoint. How are you? Oh, that's right. I
Good,
forgot. You only have one camera to look at with your phone, so you didn't see me on the array of
No,
everyone else there.
I'm sorry. So yeah, thanks for speaking up, and go
Sure.
ahead and state your name and the project, and then we'll ask you questions directly.
Yeah, sure. Again, Matt Geis with ChargePoint, and the project is the installation of some electric vehicle chargers there on the Clear Creek County property, their annex lot.
Okay. And so I think you probably just heard them, what we were talking about, some of the concerns. There are a particular type of LED bulb that we already have for outdoor lighting in public areas that we would like them to match. And then since I'm looking at this, do you have lighting? What type of lighting, and have you specified that?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Here's
Just to kind of be clear, normally when on the other 34 locations across Colorado, when we've submitted for a NEPA review, we don't submit very much of anything, actually just the address and a few other items, and per the agreements or the process, we're not even supposed to really start design or anything else until we have NEPA approval. So with this one being a little bit different, we ended up doing a lot more design. We sent in, I think you guys maybe have looks like it's maybe about an 8 or 9, 10, 12 page kind of single, says electric vehicle charging project.
Yes.
And yeah, so we submitted that after having questions that were referred to us through the NEPA process. And I think in there, we do talk about the examples of I think on page 9, we got the information about the type of light pole that you guys required. And so we're
Yes.
incorporating that into the one light that we're going to install above the charger itself, above the
Okay.
chargers themselves. And so we've tried, and then as well as I also submitted the plans that we have so far, which are not a building permit, it's just the beginning of our plan set. So once we get NEPA approval, then we would start the process of the permitting process, which I think in that process, we probably would have come upon you guys as well. So happy to move things around and make it fit your guys' schedule. It's just slightly different than what we've experienced a couple other places, but hey, we've experienced a lot of different things all over Colorado. So it's nothing new, but I'm happy to do whatever is necessary to give you guys the information.
Great, okay.
There's a very clear picture of the light and it matches what the other poles.
Yeah,
that
I
are,
see that.
Looks
I
like
see
it's
that.
stuff on Argentine.
so
And are the ones on Argentine 12 feet or 14 feet? Do you know, Bob?
I don't know.
I thought we were talking about 12 feet, like at Strauss Park as well. I thought that was what we were doing.
hmm,
I think for the size of the area and in that public area, 14 might be appropriate, but because of light spillage and stuff, we just don't want one too tall.
Sure.
It should probably match the existing ones by the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they certainly aren't 14 feet.
No, I think they're 12s.
Okay, is that doable for you?
Whether they are, we should match that height.
Right. Is this something that would, sorry to interrupt it, is this something that in permitting that would be kind of clarified on the permit and on the drawing set? Because that's ultimately where we want to have all of the information, so as the contractor isn't confused at all, making sure that, do you know if that carries through to that process from?
It should be on the drawing set, the spec for the light.
Okay. Yeah, and 12 feet is fine. I think 14, this one looks like it's the type that has those, like a banner holder, and maybe that's what it was out front, but 12 feet would be perfectly fine for our application.
do you
Okay,
think that would cover all 4 of the charging I don't know what you call them.
Charging station, yeah,
Stations.
chargers.
Stations, so that you'd be able to see every one of them in the nighttime?
Yeah, I think that the way it's laid out now, we were planning on putting them right in the middle of the 4. So think of it as 4 parking places, and that light would be above, and it would be slightly behind the chargers, so as to shed light all the way across, so that the cars wouldn't interfere with it. I think it would be fine. We're open to adding more if you thought it was necessary, but for us, one's ample.
So if we find that we don't have enough light and we need a second light later, can that happen?
Yeah, definitely. If you again, we're working with the county, and it's ultimately they'll own this project. They're the ones that are going to be paying their percentage share of it after the Colorado Energy Office money comes in. So whatever we need to do to make it a great fit there, we'll add it in, and one more extra light wouldn't hurt us at all.
Okay, thank you.
I think the other comment that we had was the color of the electrical, the substation equipment.
Yeah. So
I guess dark brown or black.
we can, thank you. Yeah. So there's 2 types of equipment that will be part of the, and I think the only equipment that's shown in this picture. So if you look at actually, yeah. So on page, it's kind of, it's page 6. It's showing the color of the transformer. So Xcel Energy will be providing the transformer. So their transformers will be consistent with the transformers they have in the city right now, which I believe is a beautiful army green, or whatever green you want to call it.
I would not have a problem with that. We have those all over town.
Yeah. But the next one on page 7 is the switchgear, particularly on the right-hand side of that page, is probably what it more likely look like because of the having 4 chargers. Although, and so that normally comes in kind of that, battle gray. You could spec it a different color, and we could have it painted, but we can't paint the transformer.
I'm fine with that. Anybody else have any?
No, we just don't want anything reflective, so nothing shiny.
Right.
Right. So the forest brown, the Forest Service brown is
I'm all on the highway and everything, so that shouldn't be an issue.
okay.
Perfect.
All right, so nothing reflective. And then the signs, are we ready to move to that?
Mhm.
And so I did see Cindy's note on this. Is this so the one on by the roundabout, is this the one that Cindy felt was perhaps confusing for other stuff in locating?
Well, the problem, I think, is that you're coming up to the Rotary,
Yeah,
which has its own issues in terms of people doing what they're supposed to be doing in the Rotary.
Yeah.
But adding another sign right there adds another element to be reading as you're
Right.
also trying to come into that Rotary.
right.
So, you know, that's, and we also, my understanding is that there has been a pretty clear idea of the graphic signage that we have there.
Yeah,
And adding another sign into that at that point is another distraction for the people that are going to hit that Rotary in a pretty big hurry right there.
so the one that's marked on, I'm on location of wayfinding signage on that page, and it's apparently the first one that's got the roundabout on it.
Sure, page 10.
If
Mhm.
So if that one that's marked with the green dot there, actually, everybody has to turn right at that intersection, you know, at that first point.
Sure.
If that sign is actually moved around the bend and just says straight, then so that there's not other signs there that they're trying to read and figure out, I mean, is that,
Well,
uh,
I'll give you some background on that. So part of the grant requirements is that we install signage on with CDOT or with the highway. And then we also install what we're calling these wayfinding signs. And
Yeah.
and technically it's supposed to be at each turn. And so I think what you're seeing here is the first one is at that turn. And then the second one, if you go down to the next page, would be you know, there across, which would be kind of a sign pointing to the left, basically saying, hey, look over there. And typically the signs that what the signs look like is what's on page 12, which is just the EV, kind of the standard EV sign. So the arrow would be, you know, one way or the other, depending on the situation. So that's what's standard and what's supposed to be applied. We've had some, I think it was Vail, we were able to get an exception to just add a sign, add a runner onto their already signboard that they have, so as to not to have a different style of sign, but it was and I think it said, you know, EV charging and an arrow, and so it was part of the same kind of thought process when you looked at the signage. If that was something, I can't recall. I've been to Georgetown a few times. I don't remember what that sign looked like on that roundabout or right before it.
well, it's
But-
a fairly large directional sign that's, it's not a metal sign. And so it does tell you downtown and that type of stuff. It's got several different things listed on it.
Mhm.
Maybe that would be the best thing if that was at the bottom attached to that one. What, does anybody else have a thought on that?
I like that idea. I think that would be a good way to go.
So instead of a separate sign there, it's actually below the already existing sign on that same.
And that's right at the entrance to the visitor center, right? That sign?
It's past the visitor center. So if you pass the visitor center turn in, then that sign kind of tells you downtown, and, you know, it's that big green and kind of beige one, green and gold one. I think,
It's past the driveway.
yeah,
That big rectangular thing that you see just off the driveway.
yeah.
So would we have it match graphically, or does that matter?
Well, if, so I'm looking at the picture of the sign, the typical sign, and that's the blue one if that's sort of a universal sign that people are looking for,
Oh, I
I don't know if it should actually still look like that, but just be on our existing sign so that there's not yet another sign, you know, for people to see. Does that, I mean,
what did Vail do? Did they have you integrate their graphics?
So the thing with Vail was that they own the station themselves. And so once they got around, they were able to, and they paid for everything. And so as the town, so they ended up, I believe, adding I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly. I know that there was a custom sign. It wasn't the standard one that we showed with the blue and the EV. I believe they just added a runner underneath. I remember at one point that it was a like a $4,900 bid or something to replace the sign, and so that quickly went into let's add something instead of replacing it, because you can add it for $150 or something.
Right.
So. But I think that, you know, if you give us some direction, we can try to then take that to, you know, back to CDOT or, you know, and say, hey, you know, we were required to try to match the, you know, to participate in the signage in a way that wasn't obtrusive. Or I'm just trying to look on Street View here and see, it looks like, you know, that sign is fairly full, but, you know, maybe there's a way of where right below county offices, we could put a little sign down there. If it still looks the same, I'm not sure if this sign has changed, but it looks like it probably is still the same way.
it hasn't changed since it was put up.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't want to, I mean, I think we'd want to match something so that it didn't, you know, either, you know, so that it aesthetically had, you know, kept the same flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
Particularly right here when you're entering town. So if you wanted to help, you know, help us kind of set up some guidelines on what would be, I mean, you can see, again, looking at the last page there, the sign on page 12, where it just has the EV look and an arrow. Maybe there's a way of replicating that style and putting it on another kind of roundish, you know, oblong sign below county offices there, or making some adjustment. But I think we'd definitely be open to trying to figure out a way to make that, you know, fit for everybody. Particularly, one more bit of information: most everyone finds are you know, charging through their app on their phone or in their in-car dash. So the signage is a little bit old school, but it is a mandatory thing that's come through with these grant programs. So we've done it everywhere we've gone. So.
Okay, so I think, yeah, we would definitely prefer if we could blend that into existing signage there, have it be part of that already, you know, existing directional sign. That would be good.
What would be the problem with just moving it down to the next quarter point, actually on where Argentine Road comes into the roundabout? Because you can't go.
You have to go that way.
You have to go that way. You can't go the other way.
I guess I'm just thinking that if I'm looking at that, because it's a roundabout, I mean, you have to go to the right, but then you could also then go in circles around to the left, right? It is your first right-hand turn to go down that direction. But if you were to, if there wasn't any sign, I mean, potentially if there was a sign, you know, down by where the crosswalk, there's a, I don't know if I can share my screen. Maybe I can, but there's a, do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So when we're looking here, this is coming, you know, around the corner. And so, and here's a sign that has a crosswalk sign. Maybe there's a spot here that is past is past your other sign that, let me just, I don't want to give anybody a, you know, make them fall down or anything, but so I'll stop moving around too quickly. But at first I was thinking here, I think you're right. We could easily have a sign like farther down here past everything.
That's what we were talking about.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because then you're right. You are coming here at this point as a driver, you're saying, oh, here's the sign. It's pointed that direction, you know, and you would just continue traveling down the road. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
another question that I have that Bob actually asked earlier, is there going to, other than Vail, is there a consistency all over Colorado with what the look of the sign is for electric stations?
It's the one, yeah, it's the one on page 12 there. That's the universal sign, and you'll see that sign on the highways. We use that sign on all the different corridor programs the same way. It's literally, so exactly what you see there.
Okay.
But an
so-
arrow going one way or the other.
So the sign in the location that we're talking about now could be that sign that everybody's familiar with, right?
Correct, right. We can make it a nice small version there that didn't it didn't stick out too high, so it wouldn't mess with the crosswalk sign. We can make it maybe in between the two, find a nice location there. I mean, they're technically supposed to be 50 feet before the right-hand turn and some other things, but in this situation, I think we could easily get away with it.
Does
Yeah,
anybody have an opinion about it staying standard with the rest of the state?
I think that's probably more helpful, if people get off and looking for it, that's what they're expecting to see. So it might be better to keep it that blue sign.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay.
That's why I'm here. I'm here to talk this stuff through with you guys, because we're open to making things work, but it's very specific for each place. So I'm in Seattle myself. We have,
Oh, gosh.
we have a couple of different ways of doing things, but
Okay.
yep. And then as for the second sign, I think if you're okay, we'll keep that same consistency. We'll have that. So there's the two wayfaring signs, one that will be, where we just spoke of, and the second one will be just about 50 feet before you would make your left-hand turn into the driveway there or the charging area.
Yeah. It's not very far. It's not much further down.
I know. I spent a lot of time mapping this out in this one group that we were doing, and I had to figure out the least expensive way to get a driver there, because it was in a whole bunch of areas. So you could send drivers all over the place, but I was trying to find out what is the most consistent way with the least amount of signs. And I got it down to 4 wayfaring signs just to get there. So it's quite a fun little chess match.
I honestly think if somebody takes the right turn off the roundabout, they're going to see it. But the one that has the left turn is probably good too. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thanks for sharing your screen. That was very helpful for me to look at that.
Yeah. Okay.
My pleasure.
All right. So anybody else have questions or concerns on here? So there's 4 stations.
Correct. The grant requires that we have room to install another 4, but it's only a requirement what they call future proofing. So when we're doing the construction, there'll be a little conduit. You won't see it, but right past to the if you're looking on page 3, at the bottom of page 3, there's a little small box that kind of sits out just inside the parking strip area, basically. And that little box would hold the end of a conduit tube that would have for future installation.
Okay.
It's not mandatory. The only thing that's mandatory is that we provide the conduit and the switchgear size to accommodate it, and that there's technically enough parking places to the, in this case, to the right, to allow for 4 more. But it would only be, it would be Clear Creek County's decision, and work with you guys to, if for some reason if there was that many, in 5 years, there'll be a need. So maybe at that point, you're going to want to add them, because you'll have that many EVs on the road, and they're going to want to stop here and not be backed up.
Right.
But at this point,
So is the lot actually gravel, like that same picture that I'm looking at, the one that says color of charging stations? It's got 2 yellow posts there. Is it going to be gravel still?
yeah. So this one here is, I believe this picture is actually well, obviously it says Moffat County, it's in Dinosaur, and I believe that they are going to leave the gravel there. So far, that's what I've heard, that they're going to use the gravel, but they'll repact it, recompact it. Yeah.
Okay.
But we've done them a couple of places, where there has been original gravel, we tend to stay with the gravel. It's a fairly costly, project. I think, the overall project is, in the 400,000 range or so.
Yeah.
So if we can save some money here or there, but at this point, the answer is yes.
Our preference is not paved. We don't really want it paved. And then how does everybody feel about the yellow posts? Does that matter? I mean, it's a safety thing. I understand. Is the yellow okay?
Just to give a little insight on the posts, yes, they're great for cars not hitting them, but they're also even better for snow plows not hitting them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And snow being white, if we try to have a color that you can see when the snow is
Yeah.
on there, that's one of the reasons why they've been yellow.
Right,
Pass.
okay. Everybody okay? Yeah.
Do we care what color the concrete base is? What the day, or?
Well, they're technically we do.
We have,
Um,
have a color and a rule.
Yeah, we do.
We can throw some color in there while they're mixing it.
Okay, and so it's a specific color. You know what? I've got notes all over my place here and now I can't find it. It's a sandstone color. We can definitely,
Actually, a specific number, right?
it's 5247, I'm thinking. Let me see if I can find my sticky here.
Yeah, where's Cindy when we need her? She knows this
Yeah.
stuff. That.
I know. We can definitely get you the specific color number.
Yeah.
Is Kent on? He knows it. Kent? He may not have his sound on. We'll get that color to you. It's a sandstone color. It's fairly light, but all of our city sidewalks and curbs and things use this same color. So it's not a white.
Okay,
I've got the
Sounds good.
number here from
Great.
Davis Color 5237 sandstone.
5237. Okay, great.
And I think there are two different mixes in terms of the amount. One was slightly
Yeah,
darker.
the darker mix is for walkways and stuff like that with an exposed aggregate surface.
Yeah, yeah.
For-
So it's
for
the regular
curbs and
mix.
Foundations would be it'd be 1 pound per bag of concrete. So it's 1 pound in what, 92?
90. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was 94, but yeah. So just the 1 to 1 bag, 1-to-1 ratio.
okay. I'll hopefully we can if there's a process where I'm taking some notes, but we can, if there's a way to maybe respond with that in, some of this in writing, 'cause I know you're talking about colors of the lights, LEDs and a couple other things.
Oh.
So if this is part of that permit process, or this can be kind of identified while they make the drawings, that would be outstanding.
Okay.
I've taken notes too, so I can cross-check with my contractor. I'm the one that's, I've been working on this project since 2018, in the very, very beginnings, finding hosts for all over the place. And so I've been trying to stay consistent, even though we have our other team that does the construction. So and they're the ones that will actually file the application for permit and such like that, but I'll work
Okay.
with them.
All right.
Yeah.
Certainly. Okay. So we will get that back to you in writing, confirm. Yeah. Okay. So you can't just send it to 5237.
On the COA.
Yeah, so we actually can do one tonight if you guys are feeling like, I'll definitely have what we discussed tonight, Mark, on stipulations. So we can go ahead and process you on from our group here to your next meeting with the stipulations that we've talked about tonight, if that's agreeable to you. I think we'll follow up with getting you the specifics on that.
That's a question to me. The answer is yes. It sounds great.
Yeah, that was a question to you. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm kind
sure.
of like talking in the dark here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would we send the letter to whoever saying that there's no adverse effect?
Yeah, we do. And I'm not sure who that is exactly, but there is another hurdle here in town. It may be zoning. I'm not sure, but we do send a recommendation of no adverse or adverse effect. So
Perfect.
that's on us too. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I had actually here the concern on the color of the LED lights and the 12-foot fixtures as opposed to the 14. The lights will match the existing lights in town, the style and the color. And then none of the electronic components there will be of any sort of a reflective, shiny metal. And then just the Davis color on the concrete. Oh, and then moving that sign around the corner to the first exit rather than being right there where the other signs are.
Yeah,
I
perfect.
agree, Joan, except do we want to go ahead and, as far as the color of the electrical equipment, that it be a dark brown or dark gray, charcoal gray or something like that?
Yes. Yes. So he did, I think you said, Mark, I think you said we can call that out.
Yeah, yes, please do. And I will, I don't know what, I don't order the switch gear and that we're talking about the switch gear.
Right.
But let's call it out and let's make us jump to that hoop. And if for some reason there's some technical reason why they don't do that, I don't see that there would be, but then we can, bring that back to whoever needs to review it again. But
Okay.
I'm leaning towards the ability to do it. So
Okay.
we can do it.
Okay. So that's definitely going to be on there as something that if it's not going to be, you'll have to come back to talk to us about that. Okay.
Sounds good.
Actually, if none of this is going to happen for some reason, you have to come back to that.
Right. Sounds good.
All right. Okay. So if anybody's ready, does anybody else have anything?
Yes, I just had a question of clarification. Are you going to indicate, Joan, that the light is 12 feet high, not 14?
Yes. I
Okay,
am. Yep. So the LED bulbs match the existing bulbs along that strip of Argentine there. And this is partly, we have a dark sky ordinance in town, Mark. So we want all of our lighting to be non-obtrusive and all that. That's why the fixture looks like that. And the lighting doesn't, cast off in surrounding areas. So, okay. So anybody else? Can I get a motion?
Yeah, I would move that we go ahead and find a 106 finding of no adverse effect, and that we approve the COA for the charging station with the stipulations as noted.
I'll second that.
Is there any more discussion or audience comment? All in favor? Aye. Against? Okay. Well, thanks, Mark. I guess we'll talk to Kent. I'm not sure what your next step is here, but we'll have your documents from our group ready for you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much for your time tonight. Appreciate it. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. And last we have Mark Geisness, and it sounds like Tom was on there for a sec.
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Tom.
Hello, hello.
Go ahead and state your name and your address of your project for us, please.
I'll start out. Marvin Geisness, Western Mill LLC. The project is on a to be determined. I think it has been determined address, but it's lot 3 of the Western Mill subdivision. Lot 3 is just to the south of the existing platted lot 2 at the corner of 10th and Main.
Okay. So we usually start with just mass and scale, and the next thing that's going to come up on this one is orientation of this house to the street.
Before we get too deep in there, I just wanted, if it's cool with you, I'd like to share my screen and show, we just made a slight design modification to what we presented.
Okay.
That I don't think really affects the big picture of it, but I wanted you guys to be aware of that as we go through this. I'm going to share the screen there. Hopefully. See what comes up. All right. Move people off to the side there. So on the left-hand side, this is slightly modified. On the right-hand side is what you guys have in your packet.
Yeah.
And really the only difference is here at the garage. You see we carried this trim. We put a transom above this door, as you can see over here on the left side. Put a transom up there so that the trim is kind of continuous over this whole unit, if you will, to kind of help balance that out and center it more under the under that elevation. And then the front porch here, it pops out, it sticks out about 3 feet from the face of the wall here. And then we just rotated and put a hipped roof corner on that porch, so it kind of stands out a little bit more than what you guys are looking at. So that's just a quick minor adjustment we thought helped the architecture.
Okay, well, and I'll tell everybody that this was a concern that Cindy had, that she expressed to me, that our guidelines on book 2, page 44 specifically say that a house should be oriented to the street view. So the front facade of the house should face the street. And on the, I think that's the southwest view that you're showing us there.
Mm-hmm.
This is not in front of the house. This is from in front of the neighbor's house, basically. So we're looking at the front of the house, but not from in front. So from the street, looking straight on at the house,
Hi.
we're looking at the end
Yeah.
of the.
I realized that was in the guidelines as far as having the front door face the street. I'm trying to find my other, here it is, the kind of side-by-side comparison there. Same. So that's your front elevation. And in looking at other, I didn't get photos, but there are some other, historical houses in town that do have, I guess the model really does show it the best here in terms of that has, the front door, access from the porch that is facing the street.
Go on back a little bit further north on there, the other direction. And when you stop there, we
Yeah.
see a garage.
View. That's the view from Main Street, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so we
Straight
see a
on.
garage door, but we don't see a front door.
And a ski area, a ski locker as the front door, looking like the front door.
Yeah, we put there is a storage locker on the front porch there, which out of a convenience effort there in the design. So, and kind of the reasoning behind that was the layout of the plan, so that you'd be entering, because this front room is the living room, and we didn't really want to enter and have to walk through the living room to get to the functions of the house. So from a circulation standpoint and walking and to try to keep the floor plan efficient, that's why we kind of set the door back, and so we're kind of entering, if you will, behind the living room, and so you're having to pass through the living room there. So
So Tom, I'm new on this commission,
Mhm.
and I have been studying this book hard. And when I came across page 44, it literally has a picture that shows what is acceptable and then what is not acceptable. And it is an exact duplicate of what you have designed here. The entrance element of this building does not face the street and is inappropriate.
okay,
Pretty clear.
I'm just gonna pull that up to see what.
Yeah, page 44 in book 2. And then there's also an issue with the garage, I think. A big.
Well, the garage is step
then-
back from the front of the house, and it's not a 2-car garage, which is helpful. So I'm feeling like with one single garage door and a man door there, it breaks that up. But it is the fact that when you look at the house facing from Main Street, you see a garage door and not a front door.
Well, and you see the garage end of the house is the dominant
Yeah,
size-wise.
yeah.
And I forget what page that's on, but there's also a ruling about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As if it was, it's subordinate if the front door was on the front of the house, but it's right now the dominant entrance and door that you see.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to comment on that other, than, like I said, I mean, there's one a couple doors down for me. I know I'm not in the historical district here, but there's definitely a historical house, or from the time frame of the history of Georgetown, though, that has, and there's some others around town that are like this. So that's kind of where we started. And like I said, to work with the floor plan and getting that to work like we were hoping for the floor plan to lay out, that the porch entrance would be, acceptable and as reflective of other historical houses that have that similar thing. And I can't.
So
that's
the issue becomes, the second that we would potentially make an exception for you, then we can scratch the guideline, because basically we're going completely against the guidelines. And in this case, it's kind of remarkable that the pictures use your design as an example of what should not happen.
So this is not a corner lot, correct?
No, it's not.
Okay. So I can think of one example of this type of a porch entry offhand, and it's on a corner, so it's actually still facing the street, and there's also not a garage. So that's sort of the double whammy there, that we know people need garages, and we can't say, no, you can't have a garage, of course, but we do prefer that to not be the domineering facade on the front of the house. And this just seems to be a problem on both aspects.
Yeah, and in the original picture that we got, Tom, we sort of are looking at what's supposed to be the front of the house, like on an angle. We don't really have this view that you're showing us now, right now.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen this until this minute.
There should be some perspectives in there, but nonetheless, on the cover page, there was kind of a perspective from each corner of the house, but.
Well, but there's not the direct west view from Main Street. Like when you walk past this house and you stop right in front and look, like the one that you have up right now, we don't actually have a picture of that, but we can extrapolate because we know we're looking at it from a side angle.
Yeah, and this thing that you showed us now, this west elevation, that gives us a very clear idea of what it's going to look like. And basically, it looks like your storage locker is the entry to your house.
Yeah, I actually thought that, looking at sheet A 3.1, I actually thought originally that was like a sliding patio door.
Yeah.
It's going to be solid.
So if that were replaced with siding, would that, if we remove that door and
Put the front door there?
I'd have to consider that in the plan, how that might change things around, because that doesn't work right off the bat with how the plan works.
Yeah, I was looking at
that's a consideration that could work out. Maybe I'd have to.
What if you brought the porch around the front, wrapped around the front elevation? That would give you the effect of porch on the front of the house, even though your entry would be on the side.
Yeah, well, honestly, I started that way on the end. When I had that wrapped around the front, it took away from that vertical emphasis, on the 1-story side of the house there, and I felt like it just really made that feel squattier and lower with that porch. So we decided, if we could, have that porch as the But yeah, that's why that's why we put it off to the side and didn't wrap it around. Initially, we were looking at wrapping it around, and it didn't feel right, I guess, this one. So
Well, all the other views of the house are 2-story, so that the west view looking straight from the street, if the porch wraps around the front, and I totally see what you're saying about it sort of cutting in, but there's still a large area to the right, the 2-story part of the house that gives it the verticalness. So you're not making this look like a little short squatty house. There's still
Almost looks like an original, small 1 or 2 room house, and then
with an addition. Yeah.
a bigger addition in the rear.
okay.
So I'm not sure how anybody else feels, but are we talking about the ski locker now being potentially the front door, which gives a certain logic to this?
Well, that was an option, but he has to do some rearranging. So I guess, Tom, were you going to consider that?
Well, of course, we'll consider anything to get it through DRC. Just like, you know how it goes. So,
Yeah.
and, the inputs and what you guys have to look at and review are, that's why we're here. So,
So I heard a couple of good options as far as not good for you, but for us, is putting the front door, and it could even be another front door. So the one that's there now could still be there, but a front door where the ski locker doors are would be the optimal, or possibly wrapping that porch around the front. So that definitely looks like the front of the house with that porch.
Are you thinking that so you're saying that if you put a porch along under those 2 windows, or across those 2 windows, that then you've solved the problem of the door?
It gives the house more of an appearance of that being the front instead of the side.
Yeah, you don't solve the door problem per se, but you do get more of a traditional look of that being the front of the house.
But then we keep the ski locker there? Because the logic of that, when I look at this house from this angle, like, how do you get in there until you walk up the porch? And I mean, there's no sense in the house that there's a front door from the street view.
Well, there's a porch there, so you would go towards the porch, but yeah, you don't see the door until you get on the porch.
Right. My guess is you'd have to think about it, because you'd see the 2 windows in the, you would see the railing in front of it. So it would block the bottom of the windows. You'd have kind of the sense that, okay, one of those is probably a door. I mean, that it mutes the fact that there's no front door per se. The ski locker, I'm looking at the floor plan, and I understand what you're doing. You got the stairway, the staircase up to the 2nd floor, right behind the ski locker. So that would be a major change in the interior layout.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
I don't have a problem with the ski locker wall being, if the whole wall were all board and bat, and it just the 2 doors just opened up and had they had a board and bat look, then it would look more like just a wall at the end of the porch.
Yeah.
Not all framed out like a door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So treat those doors
Wouldn't look like a door.
as siding in that scenario.
Well, and the other thing about the ski locker is that, it's not a ski town where people are it's not a ski rental where this is the main reason people are here. It's an oversized garage. Is it just not possible? I mean, wouldn't you go in through the garage if you come back with your ski stuff anyway and leave your stuff in there?
Yeah, there probably would be room in the garage to do that. That was, the ski locker was the thought that came up in discussions with as we were going through some options, and it seemed to be an appealable amenity.
But let me add, the ski locker was at the request of the buyer of this property.
Okay, so it couldn't be on the side of the garage, maybe?
I mean, if that were just the siding, it would be more of an indication with the wraparound porch in the front. It'd be more of an indication that you still haven't found the door. But this is so industrial that it's being perceived as the design of the front door is an industrial design of the front door. And that definitely isn't going to fit with the guidelines.
Yeah, no, I follow. I can't disagree. Those doors are, you know,
It looks like a ski locker, yeah.
I mean, if you have the siding going across there, it at least gives you a hint that you haven't yet seen the front door.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, I guess just the I mean, I guess when you approach a house, you see it from all directions as you drive around it, as you're coming, you know, if you're coming from the left is what we're looking on my screen. If you're coming from the left up to the house, you're going to pull in the driveway, you're going to see the door. And if you're coming from, I should say that's from the north side, but so if you're coming from the south, which is on the right-hand side of the screen, then you'll see that too. Again, you pull in the driveway and it's or again, if you park on the street there, then the steps that lead up to the porch. So I guess that was where my thought process was with creating a sense of entry was the porch, and then that extension of the porch, you know, we felt that really helped, you know, from that perspective as you're, you know, to reaching out toward the street with our steps that reach out there too. So
so there's quite a bit of, it looks like to me, there's quite a bit of space taken up by the ski locker, right? Why can't that be the front door? And then you just enter, you open the front door and you walk in to the left. Oh, that's because the stairs are there.
Right.
Well, if it replaced the ski locker, you could even move it out just a little more, have a sort of an entry hallway there, which with the weather most of the time is not a bad idea. And you would lose that little closet, but that would pretty much solve that. You just walk in and then turn to the left to go into the house. You might even be able to put well, I don't know.
No, I think that could be, you know, worth looking at if it's acceptable to have, let's say, if this becomes a front door facing the street, is that acceptable?
Yeah.
That's a big improvement. Then you fit the you're the good guy picture versus.
Well, I just want to be clear that, you know, if that's an acceptable location for the front door, even though it's, you know, still set back from you know, deeper in the porch, as long as we're facing, if that front door faces Main Street, that should satisfy the concern.
Yep.
For that issue, and then apparently we have some discussion about the garage, or no?
Well, let's resolve that. So are you agreeable on the front door part there, Tom?
Say again?
Are you agreeable on this front door issue then? That
Yeah, I think we can. I mean, I think we can come up with a way to make this kind of an entry vestibule. I'm going to review that with Marv and see how that changes.
I'm looking at the floor plan. I think we can make that work.
okay. And you know, a ski locker on the side of the garage, I mean, that I wouldn't object to that. I think that's where you would expect something like that to be sort of a utility shed type of a thing instead of right on the front porch.
Right.
If it can't fit in the garage.
Yeah, we could look at that too.
Okay. So who's got their book out? Shall we
I
just
do.
start? Okay, let's just,
Joan,
Book 2, section 5, page 44.
hey, Joan,
yes.
I'm thinking, I've been kind of staying out of this conversation because I own the lots next door to that.
Yes.
But I don't
Yes.
think you should proceed. It's just an observation to proceed till you have drawings of what that's going to look like.
Right, right. Well, this is the first meeting of having to have them come back with some
Okay.
change. Yeah, no,
Got
I
it.
agree with you. So we're going through and looking for anything that we're gonna need to see a
Okay.
revision on.
And I'm
Thank
going to recluse myself from the conversation from now on, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
So it's section D,
Uh-huh.
the orient the primary entrance of a building to the street.
Okay, so we are looking for findings, so
Oh,
we're,
is that not right?
well, it's not at the moment. So what we write on our findings, no, you're right, but what we write on our findings is the things that it does suit. So we have not crossed that hurdle yet. We'll have to
Okay,
see a revision before we add that one, but that's fine. So we're looking for the things that do fit, and then we'll make a stipulation on anything that we need to see revised.
sorry.
No, no problem. So I just don't have room.
Okay, so then garage.
So that lot looks like it actually is, I'm surprised. It looks like it actually drops down towards the back of the house, lower in the back.
No, it goes higher in the back.
Okay. So the northeast elevation, I'm getting my bearings here. Okay, I see where we're going there. Go.
Yeah, northeast. So that this is kind of, I mean, the topography is kind of tough to model up, but this, you know, that's your general grade line right there. It slopes down. This is the lowest corner.
So is there actual terracing involved?
No, these steps that are modeled up are just the 2-foot contours and slightly pushed up or down, you know, for the,
Okay.
so
it's
those are not, it's not terrace. No, it's a pretty shallow grade there overall, really.
okay. All right, gotcha. And did you have drainage on this one, drainage plan, or have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the site
Well,
plan.
okay. So we will come back to the site and building orientation. You're in your setbacks.
Yep.
All right, and then will you have a landscaping plan for us?
Yeah, that's up here too, for the most part. I mean, we've got some existing trees that are behind there that we're intending to maintain. Put some plantings in front of, and Marv and I talked to Marv a little bit about that. Just lilacs are one option we were looking at for both as a good screen type thing. It looks like our utilities will be on the south side, you know, somewhere in the middle of that. I think that's on the elevation. So we were planning to, you know, put some plantings to screen the gas meter and electric meter.
On the side of the garage,
On the side.
right? Okay.
The lilacs will be along the north side, the property line dividing this house to the one that will be to the north.
Okay.
And basically, we want low water usage, zero scaping on all of these houses.
Right, right. Well, and I ask about landscaping because what we have found in past and learned the hard way is if we don't have a plan from you that we approve, then we end up with a house with no landscaping. So we're not asking anything extensive and expensive and everything, but we want it to look finished, not like the building fell there and there's just dirt around it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
It won't look like Phil.
Are there any decks or patios besides that little small one in the back I see, just like a step out? On the north view?
No, the covered porch and then the walkway up to the porch.
Okay,
And then the driveway is,
A portion of the driveway,
portion of it's gonna be concrete.
yeah, so just the kind of the parking portion of once you get up in front of the garage area there, that we were looking at being concrete.
and what color is that gonna be, Tom?
That's the Davis color,
There it
5237.
5237 sandstone.
Okay,
Great.
okay. And then the sidewalks, and I think we've had this discussion come up where the sidewalk leading there, does there really, it's like the driveway and then there's not really a sidewalk to the porch, is there?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I mean, out to the property line for the most part, we were looking to have
Oh, on
that.
the front.
It'll
Okay.
probably attach, there'll probably be at least a path, then maybe that concrete will extend out to where the gravel portion of the driveway is.
Okay, and this has been brought up to me as well. Are we going to require the exposed aggregate on sidewalk areas?
Wow.
On pedestrian, not on the driveway? Anybody?
I don't know.
That sounds like a Cindy question. I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
generally,
she would push for all of it being exposed, but I think what we sort of discussed
generally, we
was,
don't like concrete walkways.
what's that?
Generally, we do not like concrete walkways.
Well, we don't, and this area being new, even though it's in a more historic district, we've kind of acceded to that for accessibility and ease of maintenance and that type of thing. But I know for a driveway, it doesn't seem to be as practical. But on the sidewalks, I didn't know if we want to do that. We've done a few houses over there already and not required that, so I didn't know.
I mean, I personally think that a whole lot safer and easier to maintain if you have something that's more durable, like concrete for your walkway.
Right, okay. All right, and so we're standing firm on the color then, so, okay. Is somebody following along? I'm on page 53, and if somebody can give me sightings, and then we'll see what we have left that needs to be addressed at the end. 53 is sidewalks.
Yep. Um,
54 is lighting.
Okay,
so do you have the siding that you want for sidewalks, Joe?
no, and I've got,
Because here it says plain concrete is inappropriate. So are we talking about textured concrete?
well, that was my question.
Mm.
I think the plane is reference to the plain gray as it was.
Well, plain would be the smooth featured, the just smooth finished, and the textures is the exposed aggregate, which was kind of the earlier discussion.
And it has to be the 5237, right?
Oh, yeah, always colored.
Always, yeah.
So I
You know-
think our discussion has been that these are on private property, not in, like, it's not a public sidewalk, so they're not paving a sidewalk.
That's the comment I was going to make. These really aren't sidewalks.
Okay, so it's internal walk areas.
Mhm.
Yeah, it says interior walkways. We should go to landscaping features.
Oh, okay. Have you got a siding for that then?
That's at the bottom of 53, and I'm not sure where landscaping features are. That's in a square at the bottom of the page on sidewalks.
Oh, landscaping is back on 48. So that's section 1.
Yeah, so it's page 49. It talks about define interior walkways within a property to distinguish them from public walkways. Appropriate material include flagstone, brick, gravel, exposed aggregate concrete.
What's your number on that one?
It's on page 49 is G1.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so we would expect to see exposed aggregate on the sidewalk.
Okay,
That answers that question.
all right.
So did we put off the discussion of the garage, or are we going to have that discussion?
We're working our way around to it.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay. So I just don't have enough room here on my desk to keep my book and everything going. Somebody else has theirs and wants to.
On your little phone.
I know, I'm so compromised tonight. I feel like the stepchild here. All right, lighting, exterior lighting, Tom?
Yeah, those show up on the elevations there, on the perspectives there. Let's see here. Again, just a downward dark sky shielded fixture outside basically each door is required by code.
Okay. So I've got A1, A3. Anybody else?
What page are you on there?
This page
54.
54.
Yeah, it's chapter 5, A, A1, A3, and A4.
Okay, and how about B? Minimize the visual impacts of site and architectural lighting. So no up lighting or lit up walls and stuff like that.
Correct. None of that.
Yeah, none of-
Okay.
normal lighting required by code where you next to the door.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Everything is dark sky compliant.
Mhm.
Yes. All right. So now we've got parking garages and driveways.
Yeah. So that's page 55. And that says the garage should not dominate the street scene. That should be subordinate to the primary structure of the site. A
Yeah.
garage is preferred. The percentage of building front allocated to it should be minimized. So, and you're not supposed to park in the front yard.
I would argue all of those are met.
Yeah, I don't feel like this garage dominates the street scene. It's only a single car for one thing, and it is back considerably from the front edge of the, building, stepped back.
Okay.
What this is kind of, if you drive through the suburbs in Denver and you see these houses, that the garage is the front part of the house basically, and then the house is behind it, or there's a big 2-car garage and you barely can walk past it. So I don't feel like this is that obtrusive as far as being part of the front, and it's definitely set back from the front. So if anybody disagrees, please speak up.
But you're not supposed to park in the front? Like you're not supposed to park in the
front
car?
yard. We're providing a driveway.
With the size lots in Georgetown, typically you don't have a whole lot of choice.
Well,
on the road, or you're gonna make a space in the front, because you can't get to the back on this. You can't get to the side.
Yeah,
You really
can't
have,
drive around. Yeah.
there's no other place you can park if you want to have it on-site parking.
Well, and theoretically, you have a garage, so park in it, right?
That seems logical.
If there's no car there, you're not parking in the garage, so put it in your garage.
Okay.
So somebody want to give me sightings on page 55 there, section 6. B.
Wow. Okay. So the garage should not dominate the street scene.
Yeah,
Pretty dominant, but okay.
I mean, it is dominant. I don't know that you can do anything about it other than if you had a single story garage and you basically changed the entire design of the house. Yeah. I
Okay.
think the only thing that really applies is D2 and probably D1, the garage door could be minimized.
painted to match and not had a lot of trim and stuff on it. Is that just a metal door, Tom?
That would be a composite door.
And it's painted to match the house.
Right.
Okay. Okay, I think we're done there.
It would probably stand out less if the two walls on the right and the left-hand side of the garage door were not a different material.
Just siding all the way down?
If they were siding all the way down, then it would be all gray. It would be probably less noticeable.
And we can also look at not having a different trim color, painted all the same color as the house.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess the other thing I would comment too is if you put the man door, if you put it on the side of the garage rather than in the front, and then just center the garage door under the window, that would minimize it as well. You'd still be able to enter the garage.
Part of what was dictating that at least have it kind of offset that way was to be able to, since it is a single car garage, assuming there will probably likely be two cars there at some point, one car in the garage and have room to kind of park in front of the man door, where that space, if we go back to the site plan, even I think best describes that. I know what you're saying there, Bob. Let me go back to that site plan. Where's my...
Yeah, I mean, I understand why it's there.
And I guess, yeah, if we were to
You could just move it around the corner.
that, then it pushes that. Yeah, that's the reasoning behind it, was to kind of still have room without making the driveway wider, by pushing that garage door further to the right as you look at it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah. What about just moving the man door around the corner?
Marv, you have any thoughts on that? Or
I think that that's a very acceptable option. I see no reason that we can't do that.
And then does the garage door get balanced under the windows? Do
I think we'll have to look.
you mind going back to that?
Well, what he's saying is that
Yeah.
in order to be able to pull in two cars, one into the garage and one into the driveway, the garage door needs to be where it is.
Right.
Even if you move this other little door, that doesn't help anything.
Well, the only option you have would be make the garage door wider.
Yeah.
Which you could do that.
We can. I think it could work if we
You
center.
want to look at it visually and see what effect it has.
I think what it would take would be, maybe that shows it the best. Basically, if this gets moved to center, we would need to widen the driveway itself further into the setback. I don't think we're all the way into the setback with that yet, with the driveway. So we have a couple feet to gain here. We're into the setback with the driveway, but yeah, there's it's
Or you could make it-
I understand your concern.
Make
That
it a 12-foot door or something.
if we rotate the man door to the side, to the south side, then that does, and that's kind of what you know, in that introduction portion that you were trying to rebalance that in having find the right drawing here again.
Well, you want the door to the left so you can park another car beside it and then still get out of the garage, right?
That's the objective, yes.
Yeah, that was kind of the thought, and with this, you know, on that introduction portion there, where we're saying we kind of, you know, made this trim over both of them to kind of keep that more centered. If we move that door around the corner, then I agree that door would feel like it wants to be centered, which then presents, we can look at it, we can see what shakes out with that, I guess, and see if,
Yeah, it almost looks like you could have a third panel on the garage door where the man door is, and that would give you the balance, give you a bigger opening.
that's a possibility as well, if that's, you know, if that's not gonna backfire on us in terms of, you know, having a larger garage door. If,
Well, Bob, if it's just a single car garage, I would prefer it only have the single door, not the bigger door. It, you know, for minimizing the look of a garage. I think one smaller door is better than a bigger door. Cause you still can't get two cars through it. You're talking about, so there's room to walk in?
I think you
No, so if you had the garage entry door for the vehicle, you know, in order to make it work physically, it needs to be off-centered from those two windows above.
Yeah.
If you center it, then it doesn't really work.
And why doesn't it work? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm seeing it lined up on the right edge of the windows and the garage door, even though the man door, you know, is there. I don't think that would look as strange as it seems it would than having the garage door centered. If that's all going to be painted the same, you know, all finished with the same material.
Well, the problem with centering the garage door is then you make it impossible if you have somebody parked on the right-hand side of the driveway in that parking spot. You can't get the car in the garage out if you if you keep the door small.
Yeah.
So that.
No, I'm not for moving the garage door or making it bigger. Just leave it where it is. And
Okay, and just have it off-centered.
Yeah, it's Georgetown.
Well,
What
that's,
if you extend like a porch roof over it so that it's separated visually from the two?
that's a good idea. That's a possibility.
Because then visually you won't see it if it's slightly out of alignment.
There you go.
you're suggesting move this door around the corner and put like a shed roof.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could just extend the porch roof if the porch roof stays where it is after you redesign the entry there, but that way it's broken visually between the two.
Okay.
That's something to look at.
Obviously, your porch may change once you fix the entry there, but
So just to clarify, the reason that we would not center the garage door is because we want to be able to have the mobility of two cars being able to get past each other. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay, that,
without having a two-car garage. Yeah.
wow.
There, I mean, we can look and see what wiggle room there is there to either, if we have to push the whole house over, we can look at that and see what makes some sense. You know, we're trying to give as much room to the north side for the yard. There might be some wiggle room for that. I'll have to look and see how it all shakes out. But the main reason, again, the way this came about was for what we're just talking about, because there's basically right here, the low spot in the grade here is the property line. So, you know, you have a car parked here with kind of the driver's side in line with this door, and then another car that can drive past it and drive straight into the garage. So and we have a couple feet to give on the one side if we go right up to the property line with the driveway. So there's a little wiggle room we can look at, I guess, is what I'm.
So are there a lot of, I haven't noticed a lot of garages in town that allow for this. Most of the garages, you basically have a car that parks in front of the garage door and a car. If you have a garage, if you're fortunate enough to have a garage, you have a car in the garage and people just have to move the cars around.
Well, we're trying to make it.
You're building a house.
functional as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. With the,
I'm just hostile because I don't even have a garage now. On the street.
I don't either.
So, no, I'm joking.
Okay. So, everybody, I've got quite a few notes here on things we're obviously going to have this come back. I don't feel like we're really ready to do sightings because we're just sort of picking a few things, and then the next time we can buzz through it and do that. Is that okay? Because otherwise I've got, you know, sightings for things that we don't have listed and some things that we want to see addressed. So shall we just go ahead and walk around the rest of the building and see what else we need to see, and then we can do this all at once the next time?
I would be fine with that. And I think that would be appropriate.
Okay, so we can cut to the chase on this one if there's anything else, and then the next time it'll be a much quicker review once everything's settled. So if that's okay with everybody, and we've kind of, is there anything else on this front facade, the southwest facade, that anybody wants to discuss?
No, I think we've talked about the siding material, all the materials are the same stuff we've seen before, so I'm not concerned.
Right.
About materials.
Okay, so we can just kind of look around the different views and see if there's anything else that needs to be kind of pointed out, and then we'll go from there. So
all the front windows are all vertical orientation. Looks like they're like 2/2 for the big ones, and I don't know, maybe 1/1, or are those fixed, the small windows, Tom?
Some of these up here will be fixed because they're above the stairs and will be kind of out of reach. But yeah, the smaller windows, we did a 1/1, like here and at the kitchen, and there's a bathroom window that's a 1/1.
On the south elevation, are those sliders?
I'm sorry, which one?
The south elevation on the second floor?
Those are double hungs.
They're double hungs also.
Yeah. Yeah, all are double hungs.
So they're big enough to get the egress requirement and all that.
Yeah, these are your egress. There's the 2 bedrooms on the upstairs. That's your egress. These are a little bit wider than the ones on the front for the egress purpose.
okay. Are you guys looking at the southeast? Was that what you were talking about?
I'm looking at the picture that Tom's got up. Oh, you can't see it, Joan.
Dang it, I feel so excluded. Okay.
South elevation we were looking at that.
Okay, so let's go on around, and if you can humor me and find we're finished with this southeast view, basically. If you can get something up for everybody for the northeast view.
Okay, well, I've got all 4 elevations on the screen right now. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's just go to what's the next one on the right.
If we walk around from the south would be the east, which would be the back of the house, which is the lower, for those who can see my screen, the lower left there.
Okay, anybody got anything on this part? Windows, materials, everything looks good.
So those are double doors in the back on the bottom?
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm looking at
French doors back in that back corner.
Behind the area that looks like a shed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I noticed this house has gingerbread at the peaks.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, I just added some little, yeah, gingerbread, I guess is the best. To, yeah, just add a little bit of flavor up there. I know the guidelines, refer not to be real gingerbready, and not get too ornate, but I think, we're trying to again, speak to the historical character of it, but without being, not trying to specifically mimic.
Right, and you've got the porch, and everything, and it's pretty, straightforward. So it's not like the Victorian porches we see around town with
Right.
gone wild.
Well, and I think because there's not, the shingles up in the top, like there are in some of the houses, so there's no trim, and then the shingles up above and everything, that little bit of, I wouldn't call it gingerbread. I don't know what it is, a half a starburst or something, but I don't think that's too much, really.
No, I think it's appropriate. I think it looks good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks really good.
Cute. Okay.
It's kind of a nod to the Victorian era.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's modern. So that was,
Go ahead.
well, no, just somebody tell me which one we're looking at next.
Well, I'm looking at the foundation covering. From this view, it kind of looks like brick or something. What
Yeah, brick is what we were looking for kind of the base material here, to follow the foundation line around.
Do we have, just learning, do we have like colors of brick that we agree to, or can you use any brick?
Color is usually nothing we can control, although
Okay,
it's depends on the nature of it. If it's something that's just wildly inappropriate as far as where it comes from, maybe.
okay.
What we actually don't do much brick, so I'm wondering what everybody thinks about brick as opposed to stone or something.
Well, I mean, I'm partial to stone over brick, but that's a personal taste, so I won't let that.
I would just add that there are going to be 4 other houses along here, and we wanted to create a little bit of variation. You will see stone in the future.
Right, well, yeah, okay,
Oh, and I know the other 2 are stone. on the
yeah,
base.
yeah, okay. And
I'm-
what kind of brick is that? Denver
Just a
brick?
red brick. Yes, is kind of what we're looking at here. I think the pictures, images you have, I think I had a grayish brick. It was kind of just a muted color to kind of go with the, again, colors will still ultimately be determined before they paint it. But yeah, after some discussion, Marv and I were thinking the red brick seemed a little more appropriate for the historic. I mean, there's a lot of red brick in this historic downtown area, historic.
Yep.
So we thought that'd be more appropriate.
That'd be good.
Okay, all right. Okay, anybody got anything else they're seeing?
No, looks good.
Okay.
And the shed, is the shed green and the house blue, or is that?
It's a slightly different color it looks a little greenier on there than yeah, final colors will still ultimately be determined as we as the owners look through our options for that.
Yeah, and aren't you allowed in Georgetown to paint your house any color you want?
Yep.
Yes, you are.
Hey,
Yes, you are. So on the northwest view, I'm just seeing that, I think it's just the computer didn't color it. There's like a gable towards the back that sticks up, and mine is beige, just this one little room or something, but everything else looks like it's all the same color. So I'm assuming that's just a fluke on that one. Like the little,
They can ask the house behind it.
no, I don't think so. It's.
I just like to differentiate the material with the different color, the different material. So the board and batten there on that back shed area was intended to be a different color.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, colors to be announced anyway, so it doesn't matter on that. All right. I'm not seeing anything else to really call out or dicker on here at this point.
Yeah, it looks neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. So
Oh.
this one, you're building this one for someone, Marv, already?
Yes, we are.
Okay, cool.
You may know that we're under construction right now on a build to suit. None of the rest of these will be build to suit, but yes, we're building this one for someone.
Okay, great.
So Marv, does that mean that you'll just design and build the other houses like to your specifications versus somebody who's going to buy the house? Or I'm sorry, I don't understand what that meant.
A build to suit is, we agreed to build to the exact specifications of someone who comes to us and says, will you build this house? And all the rest of and that's happened once, the one that's under construction now, lot 6. All of the rest, we will initiate the design at some point. The potential, the buyer can offer some suggestions, influences, like in this case, the ski locker. And when we come to interior finishes, if the buyer is there early on, they will have options on interior finishes.
Okay, thanks.
We are not selling lots without a structure on the lot.
Okay,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Great.
Thanks.
all right. Okay, so we're obviously not making a motion on this one tonight. We've got a few things to readdress, and hopefully next time we'll be able to get it all resolved, if that's agreeable to everybody.
It's agreeable to me.
Yep, it's fine with me.
Okay, so we will table this for next meeting. Can you guys be there or work on it?
Yes, what is the date of the next meeting?
The next meeting would be the 24th.
Before, yeah.
Yes, we'll have everything done by then, right, Tom?
You betcha.
Okay, hey, thanks so much.
It's going to look great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah,
It will.
thanks. Okay, we'll see you then.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna keep that one. Talking to myself, guys. And we got minutes to look at.
Oh, yeah. I read the minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Am I supposed to do that? I mean,
Sure,
can
if you don't have any changes.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I have
Against?
to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay. All right then, so everybody in favor? Aye.
I,
All right, so I believe we're about done. Kent, could you stay on for just a sec? I
Sure.
can't see you. Okay, thanks.
Sure.
All right, thanks. Good night, everybody.
thank you very much, Joan. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got it.
I can give you a call, Joan, if you want. Something.
Oh, okay, that'd be good. Yeah, just for a sec. I wanted to talk about something. Thanks.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Bye.